Hey guys, and welcome back to Boulders and Heretics podcast. I'm your host Dan, and joining me today are Kier Edward,
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me on again.
Justin Gray,
Hey guys.
and Brian Robbie Show.
Hey everyone.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking list building. We're going to be breaking down some of the lists that we've been currently working on, and pretty much just go over in detail what each unit that we're going to be using, what's their role. Before we jump into it, I'm just going to jump over to the sponsors, shout them out, and we'll be right back. So just a huge thank you to our sponsors. First up, we got the guys down at the Comic Hunter here in Moncton. For you guys, the listeners, they want to do something a little special. So if you jump onto their website, comichunter.net, they're giving you guys 10% off your Games Workshop's orders. For some reason, if you're on their site and there's something there that you don't see that you are looking to pick up, jump on over to their Facebook page, The Comic Hunter Moncton, and they'll be more than happy to get it ordered in for you guys and get you all hooked up. So when your basket's all nice and full with a lot of GW products and you're about to check out, all you guys need to do to get your 10% off is throw in the promo code bhorkaugust. And that's how you're going to get your discount on all of that. And up next, we got the guys down at the Level Up Wargaming, also here in Moncton. It's a local gaming club that where myself and a lot of the guys that are going to be working on this podcast go each week to get our fix of wargaming in. So you can jump over onto their Facebook page, Level Up Wargaming, Moncton, New Brunswick, and once on there, you can see what nights people are playing which games, and if you're just looking to get a game on an off day, send a message and somebody will definitely be up for replying to get a game in. So again, huge thank you to those guys, and let's get right back to the episode. Okay, welcome back. So, last couple of episodes, we've been talking about the big giveaway at the end of the month. Well, we did a random number generator today, and we have the winner, but you'll be finding out at the end of the episode. So stick around and find out if you were the one. So, today's episode, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking list building. We'll be going over a lot of the lists that we've been working on ourselves, going through them, pretty much explaining what's the significance of each choice that we put in, and to say, how does it really affect our goal when we are playing in ninth? So let's start off with you, Kier. Show us what you got and what are we going to be facing in the future?
Show us what you got.
Show
to
us
see
what you
I
got.
It's like a Rick and Morty reference. The big giant heads. Okay, anyway. So I did a White Scars list. Leading up to ninth, seeing the Indomitus set. I've been a White Scars player since supplements came out and got kind of shafted. All the good bike options and stuff all sort of got the GW Legends treatment. And so it's nice to see some of this stuff coming back, and a couple of interesting things happen with the chapter approved, and yeah, I'm really pumped about what Scars are bringing. So first off, my list will always start with Corsaro Khan. It's an assault army. He gives +1 to wound, fits perfectly in an impulsor with a 5-man intercessor squad or whatever you're looking at. I think Corsaro Khan is probably an auto take across the board for White Scars, just because of his ability to multiply your force. I mean, you're waiting for Super Doctrine to turn on, and he's really gonna pump it up. The other thing is I went with a Teeth of Terra jump pack captain. So he's got Imperium Sword and Chogorian bolts and a Teeth of Terra. So he's doing 9 plus D3 attacks on the charge. And he just pumps out damage. I mean, once you get the Assault Doctrine turned on, especially with Khan there with the +1 to wounds, I mean, this guy's just a blender, and he's good for all whole punch through anti-tank, whole mulch through infantry. Like, dude just does work, right?
Nice.
And then the last thing is a jump pack chaplain, which eventually I'm going to switch out for a bike chaplain. I just don't know what the wait list is going to be for that. And I give him Master Sanctity Wise Order. I feel like that's an auto take. I mean, you roll a 3, you get to re-roll the fails. There's a very high probability your litany's going off. I'm still on the fence about what I want to take, and I'll get more into that as I go through my list. So I think infiltrators for troop choices, I'm running 3 squads of 5. The ability to just put the mid board and no drops within 12 inches of them. I mean, they just take space, and I think it's huge. I mean, if you've been playing ninth, that mid board control, grabbing it early, infiltrators are just they're just a boon for ninth, man. I mean, I think they kind of went by the wayside in 8th edition, and I think in ninth they're coming out big time. You put smoke grenade on them, put them on objective. You can really hold space and take space with them. Then I threw a squad of 9 assault intercessors, and I'm thinking I'll encircle them for 1 CP, and they'll kind of have a 8th edition Reaver vibe. I mean, if they come in with con, they're getting +1 to wound at strength 4 on turn 3. They're neg 2, 2 damage a pop, 41 attacks on the squad. I had points for a plasma pistol, so I took it. They have the bolt pistols too, which are also getting turned up on Assault Doctrine. I mean, I think they just, I think they'll be able to do some work. And the best part is they have OBSEC, which Reavers never had. And so if you can get them in, you can get them in the right spot with the 3d6 charge. They could potentially turn 2, turn 3, just grab an objective from your opponent's side and take it. It's not, they have the encirclement stratagem, so they can come in from any board edge. And, the other nice part, too, is if your opponent knows they're coming, I mean, you're forcing them to think about that every time they go through the movement phase. Am I screening these guys out well enough? Are they going to come in? What are they going to do? So I think there's play there. And I kind of wrestled back and forth with those and auto bolt rifle intercessors with a Thunderhammer Sergeant. I eventually settled on those. They're a little cheaper on points, and I think the whole squad gets amped up enough to make them worth it over that. Next up, I went with squad of 3 Blade Guard. So they'll be going in an Impulsor with Con, and they're just beasts. They just body mid, super resilient, and again that White Scar Super Doctrine. I mean, charge them if you want, see what happens, but they're just pretty excited to give those guys a go, see what they have in store. I went with 9 Outriders, 3 squads of 3. I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory. Huge bases, lots of movement, white scars. They just zip around, tear it up. I mean, I don't think anyone who's been paying attention much lately needs a super big explanation on white scars Outriders. They have a whole supplement that basically supports what they do. The other unit that I'm really hyped about, I dabbled with them a bit in 8th edition, and they just didn't really hit their stride. Was Plasma Inceptors. Now in 8th edition, I used them with the Bolters. So they were kind of cool. They got 6 shots pop, and it's basically a heavy bolter profile at assault, advance, white scars kind of things. But now the Plasma Exterminators went down, so the price it's a little easier to swallow, I would say. And they became blast weapons too, so now each one's rocking a 2 D3 shot plasma. They can fly around, they can deep strike. I mean, they're just such a good multi-purpose unit. And then, backed up by the Space Marines, Codex with the Transhuman, they're T5, they got 3 wounds of pop. Like, they're pretty solid. They're kind of, I don't know. You can run a squad of 6, and if you're stuck on fast attack slots, you can combat squad them for 2 squads of 3. Like there's just so much play with them, and their output is insane. Someone ran the numbers on it, and Plasma Inceptors, in theory, against a Relic Contemptor, and this is just speaking averages and formulas and stuff. Plasma Inceptors have twice the output against a Relic Contemptor as a squad of Eradicators. So I found that very interesting. And then you consider they're 50 points a pop. They can fly. They're assault weapons, so they can advance. And if you need to charge, you can. And you get the nice chance where if a squad 6, you roll a d6 and 1/6 does some mortal wound. So you might get lucky and get a couple off. And then there's another White Scar stratagem that lets you double up on that. So I mean, those guys are looking really good. Another unit, so I've already mentioned the Impulsor, so basically the last unit I'm going to look at is Landspeeder Tempests. And they're Forge World. Everyone knows the Forge World Index is coming, so we can only go off what we know now, and you kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? So we'll see what happens with that. But essentially what happened is they went down 7 points, which by the standard, I think things average out to an increase of about 13 to 17%. Transitioning from 8th to 9th edition. So these actually went down 7 points, which relatively speaking is quite good. So what they're running is they have these Tempest salvo launchers. They have 2 of those, which are blast weapons D3. Like I said, they have 2 strength 6, neg 3, 2 damage a pop. And then they have an assault cannon. Now, the really interesting thing about this is you can run a squad of 3 for 240 points. They have an ability called ramjet thrusters, which means when you advance, they have to move between 20 and 35 inches. Now, when you pair that up with assault cannons and the salvo launchers, I mean, they basically have a threat range of the entire board. It's an advanced move. So all these guns, they're all, you can pop a stratagem, which basically lets White Scars turn their heavy and rapid fire weapons into assault weapons. So now you can take the squad of 3, you can move them 35 inches, pop the stratagem, and now they're shooting all of their assault cannons and Tempest salvo launchers. So that's 18 assault cannon shots and 63 strength 6 neg 3, 2 damage shots. And like I said, they're moving 35 inches. They're White Scars. They can advance and charge. There's an ability that for 2 CP, you can give them the 3-up invul. I mean, they're just crazy. I mean, you can basically, they are nasty. Turn 1, you can put them wherever you want. And, it's all heavy weapons too. So turn 1, all the AP is going up. So now the salvo launches are neg 4. The assault cannons are neg 2. And then, they paired off with the 3-up invul and that kind of movement, they become a problem. And I'm pretty sure they become -1 to hit. Now, the only kicker is if you pop ramjet, they can only charge or be charged by units that fly. So it's important to consider that when you're using them. You want to kind of set yourself up so you're able to engage something and charge something. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, they're going to be sitting ducks and I think one of the big things with the new edition is forcing fallbacks to stop shooting, because now even fly can't get around that. So, hypothetically speaking, let's say there's I really like them for indirect fire, because they can just get in there if you have Whirlwind Scorpius or things like that. Like they can just get in there and just surround them and pump them full of shots and hopefully bracket them. And depending on how well your opponent knows your list, which I hate saying because it's not really a strategy to bank on, but in a perfect world, I mean, you could get them in the back line, shoot those things to crap, and then they have a stratagem for a 3d6 charge. You could also bring a librarian to give them a +2 to advance and charge for the following turns if you can make it work. And the other thing too is a chaplain, which circling back to that, they have 2 litanies, 1 to +1 to hit, 1 to +1 to wound against closest targets. So you could essentially throw those on the Landspeeder Tempest, send them away, and now they're hitting on 2s and wounding at strength 6 +1, which it's good for 4s against anything and 3s or 2s against a lot of stuff. So that's kind of the list I came up with. I'm really excited to test it out. I haven't actually got to run the Tempest yet. The 2 things that really excite me about that list, I feel like my expectations for Outriders and Inceptors are pretty set in stone, but I'm really excited to see what the Blade Guard and Tempest can do. So, having Khan roll around in a Impulsor with the Blade Guards is a little chariot of death. and the Tempest just picking something turn 1 and just lighting it up. So that's kind of the White Scars list I came up with. I love the change to the Chapter Doctrine where they can move in advance and shoot assault weapons without a penalty to hit. That was massive. And I think it's nice to finally run a Scars list that has bikes and speeders galore. So we'll see how it goes.
No, that sounds pretty damn good, and especially with 9th edition, that's the big thing right now is board controls #1, objectives is the hugest thing, and the fact that you have the mobility to get to the back lines turn 1, hold your own at the same time. Like you're pinning your opponent very quickly to make decisions that's going to essentially make or break, because it's like at that point you got these guys coming at you from all sides. And yes, as the opponent, you still want to get on those objectives. You still want to hold your own ground. But if you start thinning yourself out by doing that, then you're still leaving yourself wide open to this huge back attack, turn 1. And I think the way you're describing your White Scar is like you're really going to put your opponent into a tough situation right off the bat, turn 1, to really make some difficult decisions on how to proceed with the next turns. No,
yeah. I think the other thing I really like is the 3 Outrider squads. The bases are a good bit bigger than classic bike bases.
Yeah, well, they're
And
more oval than long now.
yeah, yeah. So at first, looking at it, thinking squads of 3. I mean, it's a squad of 3. It's when you're always thinking about stratagems, right? Like you
You want to get
obviously,
more for your bang. Like when
yeah,
you spend a
sure.
stratagem, you want to get the most out of it.
That's it, right? But now, I mean, if you've had a chance to dive into ninth, there's definitely more terrain. Or well, let me rephrase that. There's about the same terrain, but the board has shrunk.
So it definitely
So
makes it feel more compact, and like
so
you
it's
really have to
more,
go around stuff now.
yeah, and I think the one great merit about Outriders and White Scars is, there's a strategy to make a minus 1 to hit. There's a 3 up invul, 3 plus plus invul, not up. Well, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, but they can just body lanes turn 1. I mean, they can just move into space, and if you can't fly, they can just clog up those lanes, those arteries,
Mm.
and hold that space for you. And on the flip side, if you go second, they can get right in there and contest, and they're no slouches. I mean, the new Astartes chainsword hits good. They got the twin bolt rifles. I mean, you can definitely do work. I think they might be, well, they might be the best unit that came with Indomitus, in my opinion. Anyway, I think
For a
from what
base
I'm
troop
hearing,
unit, they do look like they have a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? Essentially, like they're very universal. Like you can use them
utility.
multiple ways. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, they
You're
got a
better
lot
at
of
words than I
utility.
am.
But every chapter, I talked to a good amount of Space Marines players, and everyone from every chapter has been talking about Outriders and how they help their force. And I mean, I think the biggest thing is just, like you said, I mean, grabbing that midboard, grabbing those objectives. I mean, they just give you that turn 1 reach.
Mm.
And I mean, now they're T5. They do a buttload of attacks off the charge. I mean,
Mm.
they're good. They're really good. So.
No. No, definitely the White Scars definitely look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So, Justin, what do you have lined up for us?
I'm just rocking the standard Iron Hands kind of style, I believe. Because you always take Iron Father Pharaohs. Then I'm rocking the Primaris Captain from the Indominus set. I just wanted to try him out. I still have my Primaris Librarian, which is taking Size Steel, and I'm tossing up between other ones like Blessing of the Machine God or Fury of Medusa, or Objection Modification, whatever the fuck it's called. Just makes people's guns overheat on ones, natural rolls of ones, when you select them within 18 inches. I think that's gonna help. But I'm also rocking for troop choice 2 assault intercessor squads of 7, just because I feel troops are key in 9th edition. You just run them up, advance them first turn, get on an objective, just kind of park them there. People are going to come to you usually. And then I'll back the assault intercessors up with 2 units of intercessors, the normal ones with the standard bolt rifles, and then I'm using the stalker bolt rifles so I can spend the 3 CP to shoot characters with them. And with Pharaohs, I can make them have Ballistic Skill 2, and on first turn I reroll 1s, which is from the Assault Doctrine, -3, 2 flat damage. If you leave out a character kind of in the open, I have a very good chance of taking them out turn 1. But I also have a stratagem where I can just use the intercessors to go into a heavy doctrine as well, so I can pop that at any time. It's 1 CP, so I can make them reroll 1s with the negative for the heavy, and they keep the same. They'll have 2 doctrines, so makes those assault intercessors or normal intercessors pretty good. Both of the sergeants have thunderhammers because gotta love it with the
Just why not?
uh when I tested them in 8th and I had a Demon Prince fly up and then the Thunderhammer guy killed him, I was just like, I need to put them on everything. And if you keep them close to Pharaohs, they have a 5-up involve. Plus, I use the Primaris Apothecary with the Chief Apothecary and Warlord, making my Warlord, and I use Father of the Future. So all of my guys within a 9, and then I give them the banner. So he gives a 9-inch aura as a relic. So he now has a 9-inch bubble of 5-up Feel No Pain. So you stack intercessors around them and they become pretty tough to kill. And you just push center board with them. I also use the Blade Guard Veterans. Just wanted to try them out, seeing that they're new. So far I like them. And then for fun, I decided to throw in an Ironclad Dreadnought. Made him a character so I can kind of hide him in amongst my units. And I give him the Iron Hands ability where he gets the 5/6 Feel No Pain from the Warlord trait. So I spend a couple CP on him. And then I use the 2 Outriders because I feel Outriders are, like here said, one of the best units in the Indominus set. They give me the mobility I never had before in 8th. Like, foot slogging across the board was pretty hard. But I feel like they're going to work. I can make them pretty tough with my Iron Hands abilities, so they become pretty durable. I can plug arteries, like here said. I can push really hard around the backfield for gun lines. Over the weekend, I played a Tower Army, and they really, one unit swept the whole side, which was pretty nice to have that speed. And for heavy support, I'm running 2 of the Eradicator squads. I like the Eradicator squad because it really stacks with one of my Iron Hands abilities, which is Show No Mercy, I believe it's called. I don't have it right in front of me. But it just, if I designate the whole unit to fire at one unit, which the Eradicator squads do, they, onto wound rolls, their wounds double. So it's kind of nice if you can pop them up near a vehicle, you pop that stratagem, your 6s onto wound with those become double 6s. So they become 2d6. So it worked really well on a guard tank. They popped up and one-shotted a Lehman Russ, which was pretty nice. So I feel like they're going to be essential in the Iron Hands list. And they're tough, so if you can put them right near your bubble, they have a 5-up Feel No Pain, 5-up Involve, 3 wounds each. You can use your Librarian to put Psi armor on them, so they have a 2-up armor save. Just a little added protection on them. And then I still use a Thunderfire Cannon, because even though they went up in price points, they're still remarkable for their points. They're still get
blast weapons.
Yes. Anything over 6 models, you're always going to do 12 shots on them now, so it really clears out like guard infantry. Does some pretty good work on. I think it's going to do some work for the Space Marines. Gives the much needed firepower. I can think of maybe running 2, to be honest, but I'll wait and see. I need to play a couple more games to get a feel for them.
And that's the big thing now I find. It's a lot of trial and error. Like we say, like these are those that we're working on. But obviously as we're playing, we're going to see different units fit our play styles much more. And like I've already been noticing that on lists I've been making. And like you were saying, like Thunderfire Cannons were like a staple in 8th edition. Yeah, they went up, but I mean, sure, in 9th, I'm sure there's still going to be that one unit you're still going to see more times on the table, just especially like Brian was saying, now that they're blasts, just to take out infantry units left and right off objectives. And
Well, they still have a lot of versatility too. like you still get tremor shells. You can still fire it twice. So like you can really slow down. You can slow down key units from getting across the board to where they need to be while you reposition yourself. They still have a lot of versatility and use, I believe.
Mm.
Well, I think too. I mean, it works against anything that's not fly. So I've seen some chaos lists where greater demons, you double fire them with tremor shells, and it's just like, oh, sorry, your keeper's only moving 7 inches. Oops. Or the outriders, like we talked about. I mean, having their movement, the whole idea behind them is they
They're
get there fast, right? But they don't fly. So I always feel like Thunderfire Cannon is like one of those things where it's going to be around. People are still going to run it. It's going to be a staple.
You're probably going to see people, like Justin was saying, like they're running one starting off, but then you're going to notice how important they are even still in 9th, and you're going to see that second one. Then you're going to see back to 3 in some lists, depending. And
I think the points get too tight. I think 1's good. It's just because you don't. I mean, usually when you start running 2 or 3 units, your concern is I want to run this unit, but if I only use 1, it's gonna get dropped, right? But like Thunderfire cannons, you just tuck them away. The board's smaller now. The range, it's 60 inches, I think.
Yeah.
I think 60 by 44.
So, I mean, like, just 1 is just like it's just a utility tool, right? Like, they have something you don't want to deal with. You don't have to deal with it. Space Wolves are pumping out Dreadnought lists. Okay, well, here's your 2 Wolf and Dreads. Let's suppression fire. Let's spend the CP and just I'll forget about them for a little bit.
Yeah.
They ain't going nowhere. Wolfen, whatever. What was you talked about Eradicators. So did you just start them on the board? Did you outflank them? What did you how did you go about that?
Well, 1 unit I outflanked, but the other one I put on the board, and I'm not sure right yet because like they were pretty durable walking across the board within my bubble.
Like, yeah, they're Gravis, right? T5 is no joke.
Yeah, T5, 5-up involve. I gave them plate steel, so now they're a 2-up armor. So they're just pretty much.
They're like mini Terminators walking around, essentially.
Well, they're better than Terminators because now they have 2-up armor. They have 3 wounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wounds, yeah.
Toughness 5.
What's the base move? 5 inches?
5 inches. I'll check. I believe they're.
I'm going to say 5 because I mean they're still just foot troops slogging across.
Oh, they're Gravis.
Yeah, 5 inches.
Yeah. So that's on par with Terminators. Yeah, I mean the way I didn't know about the Iron Hands thing you were talking about, where if you roll 6s, you can double wound, so to speak. Yeah. That's disgusting. That is so gross.
Well,
and like I said,
this is just
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's like those units that, like you said, for your self cure, they might not work for you in your white scars, but throw them somewhere else that have the different utilities to use them differently, and they're a whole new unit now. And
oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't rate Thunderfire cannons for my white scars just because I don't care if you get up in my grill. I'm totally fine with that, right? But again, and that's the beauty about the different chapters is as more units come out, as more versatility appears. I mean, you'll definitely see certain lists taking different flavors. It is certainly nice to hear Iron Hands are not what they were at LVO. I think we can all agree that the Chaplain Dread and the Brofyathan list was what's the word?
Not fun.
I heard it referred to as an abomination of a list on the extreme side of things. But the Eradicators make perfect sense. I could even, I think they're 5 power level. I mean, you could totally, I think lieutenants are 4 power level. So I'm pretty sure for 2 CP, you could outflank 3 squads with a lieutenant. And then they're getting +1 to wound, rerolling the 1s. Like, there's some serious.
You're just deleting right off the bat. Like you just look at it and just be like, do I roll really?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing go ahead. Sorry, I was just gonna say Salamander could hedge that out maybe, but
yeah. Another thing too is Devastators with grav guns
Oh,
for Iron
God.
Hands.
Come on. For anyone, dude. Throw them in a rhino. Anyway, yeah. Go on. I won't
But
stop
with
you.
the Iron Hands, you can put them in heavy doctrine. So now they're re-rolling ones, firing on 3s, so they don't lose the move and shoot. Then you pop grav amplification on them with the show no mercy, where they do double wounds.
Oh, yeah. I think you killed my sense like that one time. I think you just
Yeah.
wiped a squad of sense of mine one time with a drop pod of gravs. Yeah, the White Scars version of that has rhinos because they have the stratagem called lightning debarkation, I think it's called, and basically it can move advance, and then I'd have to check on the advanced part actually, but anyway, it takes lightning debarkation. Use a stratagem in your movement phase after a White Scars unit has moved, and that unit can immediately disembark. It just can't charge, so you could just like zip a rhino up full of gravs, dump them out, and they can pop off. A lot of armies are getting played because they're like 120 a squad now or something crazy like that.
115. They went down
115,
from
yeah.
140. From
Yeah.
140.
Ooh,
I was
jeez.
really surprised.
It's criminal. I want to work them in, but there's stuff I want to try first. But it is, no one's having fun against that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've had my eye on them. I just don't want to put them in my list yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Assault Tents. I mean, you played them up and down in 8th. It's you just want to try some new stuff. See how it feels. We're not there yet. We're not at ITC tournament level testing and all that stuff. Now's the time to just have fun and play the things you think. See how everything performs before you really nail it down. I don't think Sense and Grav devs need much testing at this point. I think they've definitely proved themselves already.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh. So was there anything else part of that list of yours, Justin?
I hope not.
Nope.
Yeah, he's
That's
just got a
everything.
Pulsar Executioner in there or something.
I got 2 sitting on the shelf, but I'm
Yeah.
still debating on bringing them.
I actually grabbed a Leviathan because White Scars have that stratagem where they could move advance and then heavy weapons become assault and they don't suffer the penalty. So Leviathan can move, advance, pop that strat, and then shoot all of its storm cannons and hit on 2s.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, it's gross. But, I mean, who knows what the Forge World Index has in store.
Well,
see.
especially I think GW is taking over on the rewriting of the rules, so
I don't know, man. It's such a cash cow for them. It's hard to believe for them write Forge World out. I don't see that happening. And I mean, like,
No,
as a
true
Chaos
enough.
player, you definitely don't want that.
No.
Like, there's some real Chaos gems in there. I was hoping Blood Slaughterers. They always seem super cool to me. I always wanted to grab.
They went up
3
in
of them.
price though. I got 3 of them sitting on my shelf right now, and
They're
they're
180 now, right? 180.
I think it's 175 from 145 or
They're
145 to 180 or
165 I know they were 165 and 8th.
And then I think they went up at chapter approve, I think it was. And then,
Yeah.
because I know they fluctuate a little bit, but then I think it was like their weapons became free or something. But yeah. But no, like you said, definitely gems that I'm looking at.
They're like as world eaters as it gets. Like whenever I think of a world eaters list, I think of triple blood slaughters, but it's just not their time.
It's fun, especially whenever one of them runs up to Bobby G and takes him out turn 1. It was satisfying. It was very satisfying. All right, Brian. So let's see if you not have Marines.
I'm running. I got the big old tough Drakari list of the Prophets of the Flesh. I'm rocking about 12 CP plus the D3 from my Warlord trade on Homunculus. I'm going to put Diabolical Soothsayer on him, so I get the free reroll. Okay. And then I get the D3 CP at the beginning. So it'll give me some points to play with my stratagems and stuff. I also got the Electric Cursive Whip and the Hex Rifle on him, just take pot shots at characters. It's a sniper rifle, so and he hits on 2s. I got Urian Rakarth as well because I wanted that +1 strength buff to all my Prophets stuff. Like I got 3 squads of Racks, one of them with a Hex Rifle, the other 2 I couldn't fit the points in to bring Hex Rifles, so they're just plain squads. being Prophets of the Flesh, I got 4 up invul. Turn 1 power from pain. I got my 6 up, feel no pain. I'm rocking.
Rax
Yeah.
obsec is like definitely a thing.
I want to boost them up to like 7 to 10 man squads, but it's hard to drop something else to fit that.
You could always go like MSU too, right?
I mean, I have a squad of 7 mandrakes in here that I'm kind of leaning on, but I might drop them just to beef up the rack squads.
Spicy.
I also got 3 5-man units of grotesques.
That's the dirty part right
monstrous
there.
cleavers. I just want to get them up to the center board, park on objective, see who wants to come play.
They have
4 wounds
infantry keyword,
apiece.
right?
They have infantry keyword, yeah.
Yeah, nice, nice. So they can raise banners.
Monster infantry. But,
yeah.
I didn't think of that part.
4 wounds apiece. They're tough 5. If I got a character around, they're tough 6. 4 up invul, 6 up feel no pain. I should be able to hold my ground a bit. The monstrous cleavers, I do mortal wounds. Or the flesh gauntlets, sorry. I do mortal wounds on infantry on 6 ups.
Yeah. The 5-man squads is clutch too.
Yeah, 5 attacks apiece.
I don't care about your volcano lance. Suck it.
And then I got 6 Talos as well in this list.
That's it. You couldn't get 9? Come on, man.
I was trying to squeeze in a Chronos for the buffs, but the points increase on that was a little excessive.
How did Talos make out with the points in 9th?
They went up quite a bit, I think.
Did they?
I think it went up not as much as a Ravager.
Oh.
Like,
well, several of the Ravagers, like the Ravager went up, then the Dissy also went up, and I was just kind of like, ah.
The Dissies are what really hurt Ravagers. 3 of them going up that much really hurt.
10 points a piece, so it's 30 points extra per Ravager. So if you're running 3, that's 9 extra. Yeah, 90 points. I'm just like, oh.
So are you just running a battalion of Prophets of Flesh?
That's all I'm doing.
That's all you're doing?
I'm not putting Cabal on this list.
Tell me the rest. Come on.
Witches. I'm just bringing
Let's hear the rest. Let's hear it. All right.
That's it. 6 Talos, 15 Grotesques, 15 Racks, 2 characters.
We're coming in board.
7 mandrakes I can put in. I just want to walk up center and see what happens.
What's your thoughts with
I got 2 Venoms as well, so I can throw the Racks and Venoms and fly around a bit.
What are your thoughts?
I could drop those, but
I'm curious. What are your thoughts with the Mandrakes? What do you think?
I played them a little bit in 8th, but I didn't really get much from them. I like them being a deep strike option and coming in, and they do mortals on 6s with their shots. They're assault 2 shots each. So, and they're minus hit naturally.
Do they get a free deep strike?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they get a free deep strike. And what's nice about them is they're not super long range. Just like you were saying, they're assault to 18 inches, but then they're also no slow to close combat. Like they're that happy medium unit. Like they can come down, they can shoot off like a small infantry unit, and still be strong enough to be able to charge into them and finish them off if they didn't get the shooting. I always ran 2 5-man squads, popping them wherever you kind of need them. And for me, they've always done the work. But again, they're very situational. You can't just be like, oh, it's turn 2, let's just drop them there and hope for the best. Like I've always waited till turn 3, drop them in where they were needed, and like I said, they've always done the work for me.
But being mercenaries, they don't benefit from Prophets of the Flesh, so they don't get the invul, the 4-up invul. That I'm going to be missing on that. They're just -1 to hit with a 5-up invul, I think.
Yeah. Same thing with Scourges. They don't benefit, but they could be added everywhere.
I was going to run Scourges with a bunch of Heat Lances, but I ended up dropping them in favor of the 2 Venoms. That way I can get my Racks flying around, or I can even put my Grotesques in the Venoms where they're infantry, but do I risk losing my Grotesques when the Venom dies?
I think I always like Scourges. I thought they were underrated. I mean, you could throw Haywires on them too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's the way
I expensive.
Yeah, Haywires are expensive. Okay.
They went up 15 points, so everything else is like 10. So Heat Lances being Meltas, 10 points a piece. I can fill those Scourges up with those and take out whatever heck I drop in. I can deep strike them.
Yeah, right. But they can move
fly,
like 12
they
or
deep
14
strike.
inches
Yeah, they
or
move.
something like that. Yeah. And
I got strats that make them -1 to hit, and I can fall back, shoot, and charge, all that
stuff. You also have Fade and Fire, so you can shoot, get them back hiding.
Try and obscure them in the terrain.
Strats like that are close now.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
And
have one called Fainting Withdrawal, which is like going to be bread and butter for my Tempests. Fall back and shoot. And then White Scars can charge again after they fall back. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
my
same.
power from pain makes me pretty scary too. The fact that I'm gonna have this much CP to play with my stratagems to reroll all failed wounds in the fight phase on a unit, to be able to boost my power from pain up around for 1 CP. I've used that a lot more now too, because a lot of the strats in the profits are about 2-3 CP a piece. So it allows me a little more option like fire and fade and to get those Talos up the board or whatever. And the Architects of Pain to boost my power from pain from level 2 to level 3, so I'm getting +1 to hit now in fight phase in turn 2 instead of turn 3.
Mm.
Makes my Talos hit on 2s in combat. My Grotesques hit on 2s, so
Yeah, smaller board definitely gives that more merit too.
No,
Combat on turn 2 is much more likely, I would say.
I'm probably really just going to lay everything on the board, put the Mandrakes up in the air, see what I need them to come down and do in turn 2 or turn 3.
Yeah. Well, especially now, if I remember correctly, you don't have to have them down by turn 3 anymore. I don't think. Eh?
I think
Nope.
Yeah, they changed that.
if you don't bring them
Yeah.
down at all, they're counted as destroyed or something like that.
Oh yeah, if you don't bring them down at all, but I mean, like it's nice too. Like you were saying, like you can hold them now to say like turn 4 or even turn 5, right at the very end.
Yeah.
And like I
You
said, be
drop
able to
them
drop
down.
them now where you
Or you
need
got
them.
a Marine or something standing on an objective in the back that a 7-man squad of Mandrakes that pump out mortals on 6s should be able to take out. So
Mm. No.
Well, just remember, you score your points at the beginning of the turn
true.
in the command phase. So you really don't want to deep strike them in on turn 5.
True, where that's the last turn. So
No,
Yeah.
I get you there. But I mean, the only thing that would kind of save you, or no, yeah, no, I guess even if you blow like whatever one the guy off the objective, you're not rescoring that in the next turn. No,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. So you want them in no later than turn 4. So no, and now I guess my turn. So I'm hoping for the best. I'm trying with this one, but I want to try get as pure as I can for World Eaters. Always been playing them since 7th. They've done me well. 8th they done me well, but just same thing. Like I play Drakari like yourself, Brian, and after playing Drakari, playing World Eaters, that lack of psychic, it is hard. So what I'm trying to
Psychic
do,
is hard, but with the Prophets, I do have I can take the Relic instead of Vixator Mask or whatever to help deal with Psychers. I
Hmm.
heal mortals to whoever's around me in 18 inches that just has a Psyker. But
yeah,
I'd
Here.
like to just I'd like some clarification on they've done me well.
Oh, they've
wanna
done
know,
me
I want to know
real
what that
well.
means, in your opinion, Danny.
I tag you, you die. They've done me well. Blood for the blood god. We care not. But no, I find like I've always ran them and I've always had like a small detachment patrol, even with just bloodletters, dropping them in. And if I can get to you, for the most part, the game is decided. But I do have a lot of bad matchups. Like I've had games against Admech, against Guard, and some Tau builds that, yes, I'll be honest, I've lost very, very horribly. Those are my 3 worst matchups.
sounds like gun lines are not your friends.
Exactly. My guys like to die before they get to you. The blood hunger, yeah. But no, so essentially what I'm trying here is I'm doing battalion of just pure world leaders, but I'm trying a patrol detachment. And it's still kind of up near what I want to do. I'm leaning towards Alpha Legion right now. But essentially the only thing that's going to be in the Alpha Legion patrol, excuse me, is just going to be sorcerer with a jetpack. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? I want to get some. Like I said, I'm trying to go pure until I can find something. But for right now,
No, it's fair. It's legit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's obligatory to just when you soup in Psychers as core, and it's just like just has it's like sorry, I don't mean to make you feel it. I'll stop. I'll
trust
leave
me, it hurts me saying that there's this patrol in it, but I'm trying stuff. So yeah, so essentially, like I said, just sorcerer with a jetpack. I'm going prescience and warp time. Prescience is up in the air. Like I kind of want to give a death hex just for the simple fact that you're starting to see so much invuln on the table now, and especially
Iron Hands
now
and Prophets.
But no, like, and the big thing too now is tournament play this night, and when you make your list, you can't change your psychic abilities anymore. So I really like warp time is a given, especially now with Corn, with Faith and Fury. We got the stratagem called Apocalyptic Frenzy. So I spent 1 CP per infantry unit, and I'm starting 9 inches up the board.
Yep.
So you give that with warp time, and I'm at your back lines with at least one unit. So warp time given, prescience given that +1 to wound is very nice, but like I said, I'm still thinking death hex. I'm playing with that one. And then just to finish it off, just 2 10-man squad of cultists. Hopefully keep them at the back objectives on my corner, raise the flag. That's all they're going to be there for, to try hopefully early game give me a couple of extra points. But to the meat and potatoes of the World Eaters, we're going with Chaos Lord, Jump Pack, Thunderhammer. Try my luck with that. Also spent the 1 CP to give him a relic for Burning Blood. And what Burning Blood does, essentially, the bearer of this talisman can advance and charge the same turn, and I can also re-roll failed charge rolls. So, like I said, get him up nice and close to whatever big units I can tag, and hopefully take him out. Hopefully have him running up with some of the Corn Berserkers for a little bit of cover, because obviously you run him up, you kill something, I'm in the open, I'm dead. I think the most I got is a 5-up invuln, which, hey, it's still nice, but you throw enough firepower at me, he's gone. Warlord in this is actually going to be Demon Prince with Wings, running him with Maleficent Talons, giving him the Warlord trait out of Faith and Fury, Battle Lust. Essentially, this Warlord can perform a heroic intervention if there's any enemy units within 6 inches instead of 3, and when doing so, I can move up to the 6 inches. And the nice part with this is the Warlord always fights first in the fight phase, even if they didn't charge. So especially now, it's going to be nice if no charges go off, the enemy unit is the ones that actually get to attack first, which is kind of cool. So you kind of throw that in with him. So even if you only charge me with 1 unit, he's still going to be going first. So it kind of gives me that little extra attack at the beginning. And I also gave him... I'm trying to see here. Battle Scribe's not being very kind to me right now. I gave him Blood Hunger for his artifact. So essentially, when an enemy unit or enemy model is destroyed in the fight phase as a result of an attack made by a model with this relic, roll a d6 on a 4+. I get to regain a lost wound. So hopefully keep him alive a little bit longer. And in a third HQ slot, the one, the only, Karn the Betrayer. I was thinking of making him the Warlord, but I'm thinking Demon Prince right now will probably be the best bet for what I'm trying to at least accomplish here. Troop choice, I'm running 4 10-man Berserker units. Champion in each one's going to have Power Fist, and I throw the icon of Wrath in each one of those. And again, goal is to spend the 4 CP right off the bat, give them each that 9-inch advancement, and hopefully get to the opponent's lines fast enough to be able to stop them from coming to me, essentially. And here in my lead choices, this is where I'm kind of up in the air. So right now on my list, I have Hellforged Contemptor Dreads, running with 2 Hellflamers into 2 Hellforged Deathclaws. I've never actually used Contemptors often, but it's just one of those things, like just having the +2 ballistic, +2 weapon skill. Like they're going to hit hard, they're going to hit well. Hopefully have them foot slogging in behind the the Berserkers. They're going to take a little bit longer to get up there, yes, but with my Berserkers being up there that quick, I'm hoping that obviously the fire focus will be more on them and not the Contemptors, so to give me a little bit of extra time to get them up. If not them, like myself and Kier was talking about earlier, is those Blood Slaughters. There's no shooting, but on the charge, because you would give them the World Leaders keyword. I do believe they get Hateful Assault, but I'd have to double check on that just to make sure. But if I charge into a unit and there's actually any infantry units, I get +3 attack. So on the charge, I'm getting something like 10 or 11 attacks. I think it's like Strength 8, Neg 3, 3 damage flat. Like they're tanks galore. So if you have 2 or 3 running them, they're just gonna slaughter Primaris. Whatever they see, they die. And like I mentioned earlier, my first time using was against Bobby G, and the fact in just 1 round of combat, I took him out completely. I'm like, all right, time to get myself 2 more of these guys and have fun. Yes, fun in my words. And wrapping up in the fast attack, and it's something that I didn't see myself taking until I was listening to another podcast. I forget which one it was, but it makes a lot of sense when they were actually starting to explain their roles. But chaos spawns.
Mm-hmm.
You run 5-man units running up the board because you can actually give them heretic Astartes, so they actually do become world eaters. So they actually benefit for some of the abilities. I think basic is like D6 attacks each. On sixes, you get like -4 like AP. Like they're ridiculous when you actually take an overall huge unit like that.
You roll a D3. They get DC6 attacks and -2 damage. You roll a D3, and you consult a chart. One of them's -4. I think one of them's +1 strength. One of them's +1 attacks.
Yeah, I got them right here. So yeah, so it's D6 attacks, and then yeah, so the D3 results. So like you said, on a 1 or 2 Razor Claws, -4 into the end. 3 or 4, each Chaos Spawn unit adds 2 to its attacks into the end of the fight phase. And then on a 5 or a 6, you can reroll failed wound rolls for the unit until the end of the phase. Okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like I said, you can give them the mark, so Corn. But then, like I said, to take Astartes, you give them the World Eaters, so they do kind of feed off of some of the abilities there.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those units that, like I said, nobody really talked about them, and I didn't even think about it until I was listening to them talking to podcasts, and I'm just like, huh. Like, same thing apparently in Death Guard. Because they'll get this
I've noticed coming
resilience.
up too.
Oh, it's
Well, I mean,
ridiculous.
think about it. I mean, if you so -2 damage, right? Like that's Demon Prince
Yeah.
profile.
Yeah, and then that's Strength 5
And
base.
Strength 5 base, right? World Eaters are +1 attack on the charge.
Plus 1
Heretic
attack, plus 1
Astartes.
strength. So they go
Yeah.
to Strength 6.
Strength 6 with +2 attacks on a D6 attack, average roll of 3. So now they're at 5 attacks each. So a squad of 5, putting out 25, basically Malefic Talon attacks.
Mm.
They're gross. And the funny part is, a lot of Space Marine lists are going to be running the Grav devs, and because they don't have a 3+ save, like
It's a 5-up save.
the Grav devs don't get to do the D3 damage. So
Yeah.
it's like they're good, man, and I think they're only 100 points for the squad. It's nothing.
It's 20, I think it's
25
gone to
points
20,
apiece or something?
23. It's weird. I think it's 23 for
23,
Chaos,
yeah.
but I think it's 25 for Death Guard. It was kind of weird how they pointed that.
They were 20 points.
Death Guard, we can give them the 5-up feel no pain now.
Yeah, they get the
And
5.
that's probably the reason, because on here a 5-man unit with the Mark of Corn runs me 115 points. That's it for a 5-man unit running around the table with a 7-inch movement. And again, you throw Death Hex on, or not Death Hex, but brain fart here. Again, I don't use psychic powers, but warp time. You warp time them up the board, and you get into the sidelines. And like I said, you run into a 10-man unit, even of intercessors or whatnot, Space Marines at 2 damage apiece. You're gonna wipe that unit, good chance. So
Yeah. Seems promising. I like it.
But like I said, I'm still playing with the whole patrol because it does hurt me not to be pure. But if I don't actually have the sorcerer and all that, because we do have stratagems to stop psychic abilities, which is nice. So I do have something there, and I'm just playing with the idea of throwing in a couple of dark apostles. So at least get off a couple of prayers to give me a little bit of buffs that way. And then even in the world leaders, I probably still throw a couple of chaos cultist units just to have, like I said, backlines, hold the objectives, get the flag going up, and
I played my world eaters list a little bit as the leaks were coming out for 9th. And I found rhinos. The Zerkers and rhinos are really nice. Basically saved them till the turn that they actually got to like come out, right?
And that's the thing. Like I was thinking rhinos so much, but I'm like, if I start them right at the front lines, you're less than 24 inches now. So you get them up 9 inches.
Mhm.
Then I think Berserkers have, I want to say, a 6-inch movement. Just want to make sure I'm looking at this right. Yep, so 6-inch movement right off the bat there. So essentially, I got a 15-inch movement right off the bat.
Per CP per squad.
And then I can also, with the banner, reroll failed charge rolls.
Yeah, Banner Icon of Wrath. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some play. I mean, the only thing you gotta think about is if you're going second, right?
And that's the big thing. Like I find, like with last edition, going second was ideal. 9th, it still can be, but I find it almost going first might benefit you in a lot of terms now because you can grab those objectives a little bit quicker, And because the boards are so short, going second was not bad if you played far enough back because you would play out of range of your opponent. But it's much harder now to play out of range of your opponents just because the board is smaller. So
Yeah.
with my goal is, yeah, like I need to go first for my plan to work. If not, yeah, I'm going to suffer a lot of casualties, but hopefully I can still hold enough to get into your lines quick enough by my turn one.
Yeah, going.
Another thing,
Go ahead, just.
another thing I noticed too, there was if you lose lots of casualties and you're thinking about using the insane courage stratagem for 2 CP, it's I just noticed in my game over the weekend, it's once per battle.
Yeah, they changed it. It's only once per battle. You're allowed to use that stratagem now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a big change.
They're trying to, they're trying to make morale happen, right?
Yeah, well, especially how it's changed so much. Like I said, like morale can essentially be better for bigger units, or it could be worse. But like you said, it almost looks like their goal is to have more stuff die quicker to make the games shorter. And you're starting to see this with no, like you said, no insane bravery, unless there's obviously stratagems. Like I know in my book, I have a couple that allow me to essentially do the same thing. So I can still
Yeah.
technically use it more than once, but I can use the base core rulebook once and then use this one multiple times after. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of armies have counters to that. Like Tau have bonding knives, where I believe on natural rolls of 6 in the morale, they just pass.
mm,
So they can negate that. Orcs, they have the slap the boys, so
Mhm.
they can avoid that.
Yeah, there's a
no,
few where if like a character kills a character or something, you could pop a stratagem where they don't have to take morale for the rest of the
mm,
game or stuff like that. Like there's a whole bunch of
I know Drakari has a stratagem somewhere that if our character kills your character or something like that, we do negatives to your leadership. And
and they
like
stack. I think.
Yuri and Rakarth in my list, he gives me +1 leadership to my guys. That's why I kept them short 5-man
Mm,
units, but they're still tough.
yeah,
yeah.
because especially morale, like against grotesque and stuff like that. And same thing back with custodes is going to be hitting you that much harder just because large units like that, and the fact that if you lose, well, it's like no, like there's a chance more guys are going to be running away than just that potential one because of a high leadership or something. But
Yeah. I
okay.
love the contemptors.
And like I said, I've never used them. I've used a couple of decimators, and they ran me quite well. But like I said, I'm just looking stats wise, and the contemptors just having that 2-up just
So
makes
good.
that world of a difference.
Well, and the chaos version gives you +1 attacks
Mm.
with the dual melee weapons, whereas like the Primaris one is reroll hits of 1, I think it is. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
if
And
you
then you
can
give them the mark of corn, you get another one on the charge. And
Yeah, and you run them with a demon prince, and then they get to reroll the ones anyway.
mm.
So there's
No,
some,
there's a couple of things I was looking at that I just the decision was there, but like I said,
yeah,
the contemptor's still up in the air with the blood slaughter.
yeah, they have some cool gun options too, like fist loadouts. There's a soul burner petard. It's like
Mm.
30 points a gun, but it's just mortal wounds. It just does
Well, and
mortal
that's what
wounds.
it is.
Like you hit and you do a mortal wound. So I mean, if you put 2 for 60 points, basically each shooting phase, that thing's putting out 6 mortal wounds.
Mm.
If it's rerolling ones and hitting on 2s, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alrighty, so pretty much we've come to the end of the episode. So like I said at the very beginning, we'll be announcing the winner of the AdMech winner. So yeah, so I did a random number generator from all the people that have liked and commented from Facebook and Instagram, and the big winner is Nick Steves. So essentially, what I'll be doing is I'll be reaching out to you on the platform with some information, and we'll get that start collecting box to you as soon as possible. So yeah, I just like to say a big thank you to you guys joining me again on this episode and giving me a rundown of your list.
Yep, thanks for having us there, Danny.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure.
All right, so
Yep.
pretty much have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
But